Hey, it's John at Tinderbox Arts. In previous videos, I showed how to measure valve clearances using feeler gauges, and depending on the bike, there are different procedures for doing that. But in this video, I want to concentrate on how to measure the valve shims, which is how you change the clearances. Now, on this particular bike, there are buckets and shims. So these are the buckets right here, and there's a shim located right here on top. I've already measured the clearances on this bike. All right, here on a bench with some better lighting, we can see what's going on. So first, let's review what we're measuring when we're talking about valve clearances. Remember, the camshaft is spinning around, and there are ears or lobes on that camshaft which push open the intake or the exhaust valves at particular moments and then allow them to close at other moments. After the valve is closed, there should be a gap there, a little bit of a gap, because you don't want it rubbing against that ear or that lobe at all times. There'd be too much friction, would cause heat and wear needlessly. So the manufacturer provides a range of gaps that they want to see during that period where the lobe is not touching the follower or the bucket and shim or whatever it is. So we're measuring that gap with the feeler gauges, and then we need to see if it falls within the range that the manufacturer recommends. So the first thing you're going to need is that range from the manufacturer. Now, here are my handwritten notes from the bike that I was just working on. And in this case, the manufacturer says the intake valves should have a gap of between 0.15 millimeter and 0.20 millimeter. The exhaust valves should have a gap between 0.25 millimeter and 0.30 millimeter. So you need to have this information from the manufacturer first. So you're going to go through the whole valve system with your feeler gauges, and you're going to find the valves that are within the range that's recommended or that are outside of the range. So in this case, I had 3 valves that were outside of the range, and I need to correct that. You can see I circled in red some of the problem areas. So I took my measurements, and on this side, for example, I found that the exhaust valve on the inside, because there's an outside and inside on this particular bike, measured 0.24 millimeter. Well, that's out of range, because remember, on the exhaust side, 0.25 is the minimum. Now this valve over here, again an exhaust valve, this was right at the minimum limit. So remember the limits between 0.25 and 0.30 millimeters. This one's right at 0.25, so it's right at the bottom limit. It's getting pretty tight, and since exhaust valves tend to get tighter with wear, this is also a concern. So if we're going to be making some corrections, now would be the time to try to get this more towards the middle of the acceptable range. So if we look at our range, the middle of that would be about 0.27 millimeter. So you see I made a little handwritten note here. The measurement that I got was 0.25. I'd like to see it more towards 0.27. So if I add 0.02 to 0.25, I'll get to that 0.27, and that I would be good. Sometimes it goes the opposite direction. So on this intake valve, initially I measured 0.20 millimeter and then refined that to 0.195 millimeter. But in any case, that's at the loose end of, in other words, too big end of the range that we're allowed. So to measure these shims, and shims come in various different sizes and shapes even, but regardless, we're going to need a micrometer, and that's what this is. The way these work, there is a rod on this side and a rod on this side, and that gap is the measurement. So we're going to take a shim, we're going to put it between that gap, and we use this area right here to squeeze this together, and then when it just kisses the shim on both sides and it's in there solidly, we'll take a measurement right here, which I'll show you in a second. The reason you use this is because you don't want too much pressure on this rod area when you're measuring. If you crank down on this area right here, you could actually go too far. Now, if you've done this a lot and you have a feel for it, you can use this, but the reason they provide this little handle right here is so you don't use too much pressure. As it hits the shim or whatever you're measuring, it will stop you by using this side, versus this handle right here, you could really crank down too far and get an inaccurate measurement. So I've pulled the shim out of this valve bucket, and we know what the measurement is to start with. Now we need to measure the actual shim to determine its size, and then we can determine what different size would make the gap appropriate. So we'll measure this one first, the one that came out. I'm going to stick this between the two rods right there, hold it in place with one hand, and I'm going to use this smaller handle to spin the barrel until it contacts the shim. So now it's contacted the shim. Because I'm using this smaller handle right here, once it contacts the shim at the right pressure, it won't go any tighter. So it just clicks on me now, it won't actually go any tighter. If I use this large handle, I can continue to crank down on there like a vise, which is not what we want. So now we need to read the barrel, and I'm not sure how much of this will be visible on camera, but I'll do my best. So there are two measurements to look at here. One is this scale right here, and the other is the scale going this way. The scale right here is in millimeters. So the top of that scale is single millimeters. So each hash mark there is a millimeter, 1, 2 millimeters. The bottom hash marks right here are half millimeters. So I'm not sure if this will show, but what we're showing here is 1, 2.5 millimeters. The very edge of this barrel here is where you're reading. So we have 2.5 millimeters, and then we add to that 2.5 millimeter measurement this area right here. So we're at 0.35 millimeters. We add to the 2.5 millimeters. That gives us a total of 2.85 millimeters, okay? So 2.5 plus this 3.5, we're at 2.85. So it's 2.85 millimeters of this shim is what we're measuring. Just to try to give you a close-up here of what it looks like, when I spin this, you can see it exposes the scale on this side, and you can see these numbers here go from 0 to 50, okay? Now for a large shim like this one, you would be smart to measure in multiple places. So I measured in a slightly different place here, and now we're getting 2.84, not 2.85. So there can be a slightly different measurement depending on where you're measuring. All right, so the original shim we measured 2.84. We know, and this is the part where it can get confusing, we know that we would wish the gap to be an additional 0.02. That would get us to the middle of the range. Well, in order to get a bigger gap, we need a smaller shim. Okay, so if I take 2.84 and subtract 0.02, my ideal shim would be 2.82. Okay, it's very easy to get confused with the pluses and minuses here, so be careful, because when you're working in the shop, you're not thinking math, you're thinking mechanical stuff. So we need the gap to get bigger, then the shim has to get smaller. Now here's the reality. They generally come in sizes like 2.80 or 2.85, something like that. So I need to check what's available, but the bottom line is we do have a range that we can work with. So even though I can't get to the exact middle of that range potentially, I can at least get somewhere in the vicinity of the middle of the range rather than at a tight end or a loose end. So you have to, take what you can get sometimes. 2.82 might be the ideal shim that I need, but I'll just get whatever I can that's close to that. So that's how you measure shims. I would encourage you to write down everything that you measure, and I will even take the shim itself and write the measurement on there so I don't screw that up. It is very easy to get these numbers mixed up while you're in a shop doing other things. So take your time. Use the micrometer for sure, and then you can get an accurate measurement and determine the best available shim that you can use to change the gap and put it somewhere near the middle of the range.